Hello, this is Pat with Petruska Papers. I am out in the Bluebird bungalow and I am creating a mini library. This will coordinate with the freebie from February, the Bluebird, which is a mini book. I'll link below where you can pick that freebie up. And then there will be 5 in this digital kit, 5 more books. There will be the ornate, the purple, the blue, the red Jane Austen, and the ledger. I did round those ledger corners, and it will have ledger type paper that will go in for those signatures. So this is the first edition, and the kit will be available in my Etsy or Ko-fi coffee shop, and I will link that below along with that freebie for the Bluebird. My plan is to do a few editions of little mini books. They are so much fun. I feel like we can take and utilize these to store tags and labels and stamps and other small ephemera. I will do another video, within the next week or two, showing how we can do that. So let's get on with this and take a look at the kit and what is in it. All right, first there are covers. The covers are the outside of the book and the inner side of the cover. So we've got the blue, the purple, the red, there is the ledger, and we have the ornate. Now I have printed these on cardstock so that when we fold that inside, it makes a nice weight cover. There are also 5 different papers for your signatures. There is a ledger type paper. There's a lined paper. There is a stained paper, another ledger type paper, and a solid tan, which makes a good page to print on the opposite side, so you have a double-sided paper. Okay, and there's also a page of book plates that you can cut and put into the front of your book. All right, let's get started. I'm going to make the ornate. I have printed it on cardstock. I have scored it down the center and folded it, and I have scored along the spine. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but I've scored along the spine. I'm trimming along the bottom of the book because you need to have that set so you can measure your papers. Now, as you look at that, we're not going to cut that white or that white yet. So just be patient. All right. Now, we will be sewing our signatures in, and I've got little holes for your guide, and you'll punch those holes. I just used my awl. I have 2 signatures ready, and I have 2 papers printed on copyweight. This will make another signature because you'll get you'll get 4 pages from each paper. So I've cut the white off of the lined, and I've also cut the top and the sides. I'm not worried about that white because we will be cutting it down to size. All right, so now that we have our paper, we're going to use the book to give us a guide. Now, the reason I'm not giving you an exact size is because when we print, all of our printers print different. Now, the first measurement I am making is for the height of my page for my signature. So I'm getting the height right now, and I will use a pencil. And I don't want it to go all the way from the top to the bottom, so I'm giving it probably about 1/8 of an inch headway. And now I need to figure out the width of my book, and I need to use from that edge over to the spine. I'm just remarking that, and I'll use that spine as my guide. So I'm going to flip it over, and just using that spine where my thumb is, I'm going to make a mark as to where I want to fold my pages. Okay, so now I'll just fold them in half. And then where I made my mark for the height, I'm going to go ahead and I will cut it with my trimmer. And I'll just even up right along that edge. And then I'll turn it and I'll cut right there. And then I'll use that as my template to cut my second sheets. These will be nested together, making another signature. Now I'm just checking with my original ones, and I'm seeing a little discrepancy, so I'm going to do some trimming. When you do yours, you'll be doing them all at once, and sometimes it's good to have like a template. Take another sheet of paper and figure out that ideal size, and then use it as you cut your other papers. So again, I'm taking a little bit off that second set of papers. And now let's nest them together. And you need to keep in mind that if you've put any of the ledger type paper, there is a top and a bottom. Okay, and I'm checking, and it looks good. So away with you, trimmer. Okay. Next, let's get ready, and we can start sewing, or getting ready to sew in. So the first thing we need to do is we need to mark where we're going to put the holes in our signature. I'm just checking to make sure where top and bottom is, and see, and I did turn that around. So I am going to, and the top is that crease or fold down the middle. And so I'm going to put some little marks lining this signature up with those holes. And then I'm going to do the same with the next one. It's kind of centering it top and bottom. And remembering we need to keep that top going correct because there's printed words. And again, 2 more. And let's check this one. Looks good. I'm going to use my awl and a piece of styrofoam packing material, and I will punch right in that fold on all 3 of my signatures. I do have a tiny little punch that I like to use, but I know that not everyone has one. Now, if you don't have an awl, you can use a sharp, larger gauge needle to do this also. Got a little mark there that I'm erasing. All right, let's clear the cutting mat away and let's get ready to sew. See, I'm turning them over. I am going to put a T for top, and that can be erased later. Go a long way to getting things right. Okay. I have my needle threaded with waxed linen cord, and I really like the waxed linen. It really helps as you are tying knots. So I'm getting my other 2 pieces ready because I do have 3 signatures. All right. Now, let's start. Now you can have your knots tied inside, and I am going to do this first one with the knot inside so that you can see. So I'm going to come from the back or inside, whichever way you want to call it. I am doing this one in the middle. So then you'll come up and then you'll go through the top hole of your signature and then out the bottom hole and into the bottom hole of the cover. You pull that through, and then you will tie a square knot. And I will go left over right, and then right over left. And you can kind of, with the waxed linen, just push down on it, and it will hold, and it does have some give so that as you pull on it, you can pull a nice taut stitch binding. All right, now I'm going to thread my needle and do the other 2, and they will be, the knot will be in the center of the signature. So I'm going to flip it over, close that, and making sure I've got my T on the top. I will go down through the hole. I'm going to start on that bottom, and then through that hole in the spine, and then up through that top hole, and then match it up with the top hole in my signature. Now this time the knot will be inside the signature. It's just a preference. You can either leave that knot there, or you can come from the back of that spine in the cover to hide the knot as we close it up. So again, right over left, give it a good tug, kind of press down, and then you'll go right over left. And because it's the waxed linen, you can let go and then tie it quite tight. It does have a little bit of give to make it tighter. All right, and let's get that third signature in. Same thing, we're going to go through that bottom hole on the inside of our signature and the bottom hole on the spine. And up to the top hole and in through the back of the signature through that top hole. And let's tie our square knot. Oh, I'm going to just show you, I've been doing some wet felting. I did some traveling and I went and saw my friend Tracy in Denver and we played with wool. We did do some paper and we made a couple of these little mini books, but we had some fun discovering how to work with wool. So I've got that cuff and that flower and a couple of other things that I did. My plan is to create a junk journal cover with some wet felt. If it's video worthy, I will share. All right, so now we've got our signatures in, and we're going to glue the cover to the spine area. I'm using my tape runner for speed because if I use wet glue, it's going to be wet and I won't want to fold it because you should not fold your book to its final shape until that wet glue is dry. So I like that. You wouldn't want to close that until it's dry. So I am using my tape runner. I'm going to be quite generous with it all the way along. Only that back half, or the front half, the cover, the back of the cover, not where the spine is. Then I turn it and I'm going to do some more right down that spine area and then all the way over on both sides. Once you have all the glue, whether it's wet glue or tape runner, I don't suggest that you use glue stick. I think that you need either something with a little more strength. So I'm burnishing, making sure everything is sticking down. And you can open up your middle of your signatures and rub down from inside there, making sure that you've got it all stuck down. And now we're going to trim off that white edge. But that's not what we're trimming. We are going to match it to the cover. So we're going to cut right along there, and I'm just going to use my scissors. You could use your trimmer, but I'm just going to cut right along there. And then when we turn it over, you'll see that the white is gone. And then we'll do the other side. And if we were cutting that white off, we'd still have white left on the cover. That's why we're using the front of the cover as the guide for the trimming. And then we already trimmed the bottom, but it looks like I just have a little bit of white there, so I'm just going to trim that off. Now I'm going to distress the edges because we've got lots of white, 2 layers of white. So make sure those are hidden with your distress ink. I'm going to go along that second side, and then we do need to do some on the inside. Distress ink is just so amazing. All right. Now, because I used my tape runner, I can fold it. This is what you don't want to do until your wet glue has dried. And then you can just flip that over and then fix that other spine. And there is your book. Isn't that cute? Makes such a fun little book. And then we have all of them together along with the Bluebird. Okay, that's it. I hope you like this. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Give me a comment. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.